So it's gonna be horrible. There was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to have been him. So right now, I guess we have just to listen to the explanations first before we can do anything. I also should set the stream marker. I trust the driver. He has an excellent memory, it seems. 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence. He stuck the chap next to him just like this. Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen. I have simply typed and collated all the statements made thus far and drawn the logical conclusion. You can trust the guild. Fair fares is our motto. We haven't raised prices above 4 pence for years. The scoundrel stabbing that poor man on the floor. It beggars belief. They have stated, except maybe for the first guy, nobody has stated something useful. It's just like sitting down going... It's like sitting down and saying like, I like cookies, therefore he must be the murderer. It's like, what? Must be the murderer because I like cookies. I'm starting to wish I hadn't pushed it for this now. Some of the jurors don't seem to have wonderfully formed arguments, though, do they? Well, let's see what we can do. We need to get 6 people to change their minds. I have to throw everything I can get at them and use some very persuasive language. Just a moment, Mr. Naruhodo. According to my book, that's not quite how it works. Oh? I thought I was going to have to thaw their icy minds with some heartwarming rhetoric about the defendant. Unfortunately, once the jurors have decided the defendant is guilty, they are unlikely to heed anything the defense says. But then... They've reached their conclusion by their own reasoning, you see. Your pleas will sound like excuses. In fact, I could recoil on you. The more you try to persuade them, the more entrenched they may become. Then what on earth am I supposed to do? Oh dear, I'm just citing what I've read about the British law, Mr. Naruhodo. Right, I'm sorry. Do you have any idea how to make this work then? Well, from what I can understand, the key to this procedure is using the jurors' own words to make them make your arguments. What do you mean? Well, the 6 members of the jury are randomly selected members of the public. They may appear present at United Front, but truth is, they are complete strangers who just happen to find themselves here in the courtroom together. And that's the way to break them down, you mean? Yes, exactly. We must listen very carefully to what each member of the jury says, and see if we can identify any contradictory statements. If we can contrast the statements and pit the corresponding jurors against each other. I see. So it's contradiction in what 2 or more jurors say, what we are looking for. in a way, then, is similar to the regular cross-examination. Oh, yes, I suppose you're right. Find contradictions in their statements and pit the jurors against one another to break them down. Alright, I might be able to pull this off. No, that's not right. I have to pull this off. Oh, we can start proceedings, counsel. I would ask you to take the stand for this. I'm expecting a clear and concise rebuttal. Yes, my lord. The defense's rebuttal. I don't like the word rebuttal. It's just weird. Pit and press. Now we have pit and press. That's interesting. There was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to have been him. There was clearly space below the seats where someone could have hidden. Let's just try. Let's first make a save. Let's make a save. Actually, make 3 saves. I always go with 3 saves. Just out of security reasons, if one save goes wrong, still have fallbacks. Okay, so let's try a press here.
Hold it!
Certainly, the testimonies we've heard suggest that the victim and Mr. McGilded were all alone inside the carriage. Precisely my point. But could there be some other explanation? Something we haven't considered yet? Such as? Well, perhaps something that we could all work out together now? Now listen here, maybe you don't know how things work around here because you're from foreign climes. But we're here to form our opinions as individuals, and I have. Ugh. Oh dear, he doesn't appear to be in the mood to consider an alternative point of view, does he? No, I'm going to have to pit the jurors against one another, like Susato-san said. Finding contradictions in these 6 people's assertions is the only way I'm going to succeed. Okay, so pressuring doesn't really do anything. I trust the driver. He has an excellent memory, it seems. 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence. There's no contradiction here. Let's move on. He stuck the chap next to him just like this. Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen. He had a different voice. I'm aware. It doesn't matter. Okay, I'm not going to do the voices all over again. So, okay, I have simply typed and collated all the statements made thus far and drawn the logical conclusion. Can't trust the guild. Fair fares is our motto. We haven't raised our prices above 4 pence for years. The scoundrel stabbing that poor man on the floor. 8 beggars believe. Aha! This is something we can pit. So, these two So she says stabbing the poor man on the floor, and he says the chap next to him. So that is something we can do. So let's do that. Those two statements are completely contradictory. What? Explain, counsel, post haste.
Oh, dearie me, I was only knitting a jumper for my other half.
What is this claptrap? What does contradictory even mean, I ask you? Wow, he is really low on intelligence. We've heard from more than one witness that they all allegedly saw the actual movement when the defendant stabbed the victim. Now, out of curiosity, juror member 3. What? Can't you see him busy here? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim? What sort of motion was it? Ha! Want to test me, do you? It was like this. Stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up, just like the prim banker said. Yes, that was Mr. Fairplay's testimony. Quite true. Now then, juror number 6.
Oh, is that me, is it? What can I do for you, young man?
How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim, madam?
Oh, well, dear, as far as I understand it, it was like this. He stabbed the poor man after he'd collapsed on the floor. The coachman said so.
Now, don't move. Well, thank you, Bob. I shall do that. 1 second. Sorry, I accidentally clicked there and missed the entire text. He stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up. And he stabbed the poor man after he collapsed on the floor. Well, I never dare. They're stabbing in totally different directions. I just lost a blurry brain cell.
What? Bless my stitches, what a model!
What this tells us is that there's a strong possibility one of the witnesses isn't telling the truth.
Oh?
But why? Why the dickens would they lie? The dickens. I don't know that yet, but what I do know is that if the trial ends at this point, we may never find out. We may never know the real truth. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can you really let that happen in all good conscience?
Lies, you say? Oh, dearie me. I can't abide people telling lies. The scales.
I don't believe it. Wait. Now hear this, my fellow jurors. I warn you, you cannot listen to this man. Look at him, in his black suit. He's clearly some devious Eastern sorcerer using magic on us all. If I could use magic, do you really think I would be putting myself through all of this? Answer me this, Dark Jinx. Huh? Me? What exactly is the problem? What of it if two witnesses have slightly different recollections of events? What of it? Let's say the Shylock did stab the victim as he was sat next to him on the omnibus, and this young dandy saw him do it. And now let's say the victim collapsed on the floor and the Shylock stabbed him again. And this old lady saw him do it. Well, what do you say? It didn't happen like that, hmm?
Who are calling you dandy, sir?
Why should I take this, why I should take this knife to you?
Who are you calling old? Why should I take this needle to you?
They're ready to kill each other now. But could the foreman of the jury be right? Did the two witnesses see two different moments of the same crime? I forgot this part, so wait. So we clearly see he is dead, sitting, so he was never on the floor. Did the two witnesses see two different moments of the same crime? No. Unfortunately, Mr. Foreman. What is it, your dog Jinx? Come on, out with it. What you're suggesting is impossible. It's out of the question. What? What are you talking about, man? How can you possibly say that? You do realize I'm only doing my job. As foreman of the jury, I have the responsibility to steer everyone in the right direction. Why is he American? Whatever. So, where is your evidence, man? That's what we want to see. I say the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime. If you say that's out of question, show me some proof. I have proof. That's the funny part. I'm even going to double check this. Yeah, okay, whatever. Shut up. Yeah. Looks like the only way I'm going to convince him is to present him with something he can't dismiss. Some irrefutable hard evidence. As you wish. What? I'll give you the proof. It's out of the question that the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime, as proven by... this clear piece of evidence. Well, Mr. Foreman? Do you know what they say about me, young man? They say I've got no powers of persuasion. Oh, I see. I'm sorry to hear that. But no one will need persuading me about this. You're even worse than me. Two different moments. In other words, the victim was stabbed 2 times. But the victim was never on the floor. But we have evidence that clearly contradicts that possibility. If you allow me another chance, I would like to present you with one more piece of evidence to consider. if this isn't convincing, then this is convincing, right?
Take that!
This clear piece of evidence. Well, Mr. Foreman. What? Doesn't take it? Huh? How? Stab once. Once in the abdomen with a knife. Okay. This is dumb. This is absolutely stupid. It only accepts this as an explanation, but it's dumb because this photo was taken when he was dead and he was clearly sitting. And you're not going to stab someone sitting, let them fall over, stab them again, and then make the effort to put them back into the seat again. It also has a second proof in this carriage that there is only blood on the seat. So this is just dumb nitpicking, to be honest.
Take that!
This is the victim's autopsy report. According to what's written in here, Mr. Mason was stabbed in the abdomen. Only once. Oh, only once? It's quite simple. The victim was stabbed precisely one time. Which means these witnesses can't possibly have seen it happen two different times. What he said.
Alright, I concede defeat.
Ah, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. You did it. If we can manage to change 2 more jurors' minds, we can force the trial to continue. 2 more, actually. There's something else that's bothering me about a couple of their assertions. Then that's where you must strike next. I need to pit 2 more jurors against each other and show there's another contradiction in their assertions. Exactly. You can do it. Well, the scales of justice have shifted, but they're still way heavy on one side of guilt. Counsel, you have the floor again. Continue with your summation exclamation.
I'm no lover of the rich, but I despise liars even more. Innocent is my call, for now, at least.
No lover of rich, but I despise liars even more. Okay. So we just need to find jurors to contradict their statements and pit them against each other. Which is so much easier said than done. Is that perhaps you were just thinking? What did you know? Well, I took the liberty of doing some research in the case you happen to find yourself in such a situation. Shall I read it, what I found out? It's a little long, I'm afraid. Sure. Very well, listen to this. During the summation examination, you will hear the assertions of 6 members of the jury. In this situation, the counsel for the defense should use R and pit with impunity. Having done so, you will be able to compare the chosen assertions with one of the other jurors. Select the corresponding buttons and listen to each other juror's assertions again.
What buttons? What are you talking about?
Note that you cannot choose the assertion of the juror you initially selected, nor can you choose the assertion of jurors who have changed their leaning to not guilty already. Once you've compared various jurors' assertions, you work out which two contradict each other and then pit them together with R to pull them apart.
I see. She wasn't joking when she said it was long.
The first step to listen is very careful. Step is to listen very carefully to what each individual juror has to say. Then I'm sure you will start to see which ones might not quite agree with each other.
Alright then. Let's get this right now, so I never have to listen to that long and boring explanation again.
That's the spirit.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just... Okay, so he says there was no one else in the carriage at the time, so it has to be him. I trust the driver, he has an excellent memory it seems. 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence. I've simply typed and collected all the statements made thus far and drawn the logical conclusion. You can trust the guild, fair fares is our motto. We haven't raised prices about 4 pence for years. How is there a contradiction? Oh wait, with fares totaling 20 pence, 4 passengers. That means it's 5 pence per passenger. And then there's this guy who says like, we haven't raised our prices about 4. Okay. Yeah.
Objection!
Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
Kato, explain yourself, counsel. Me? Oh dear, what have I said?
I swear on the Silver Blaze's mane and name, I haven't first idea what you're talking about. According to the group testimony we've heard so far, there was 4 passengers on the omnibus and the night in question. And according to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 20 pence in fares.
Quite right. I have those precise details typed neatly here in front of me.
And juror number 5 also told us the following. The fare for the omnibus is always 4 pence. Bruv, I've done with the chores. Congratulations, well done. Welcome back. That's it, a fair and convenient single price, just the way London's carriages should be operated. My uniform is ready for another day. Yay! Now you can spill the hot oil back on it. Cool. But that doesn't help at all. In fact, it leaves a glaring discrepancy in the facts. English. Why, man? Why? I can't do math, man. 4 passengers paying 4 pence each. If you add the multiplication.
Huh. It would be 16 pence.
Funny thing is, the oil end up on my hands the most. Ugh. Exactly. As I said, it doesn't add up. The figures are different. By 4 pence, in fact. Or precisely 1 person's fare. That's all hot oil. Yeah. Oh, look. A 5th person was on the carriage. 1 person's fare? Yes, in other words, the omnibus that night. It's distinctly possible there was another passenger we've heard nothing about.
Good gracious!
This can't be right. The coachmen of the guild are good, honest men, one and all, trustworthy in our watchword.
The figures of the coachman claims most certainly do not add up. Your watchword, good sir, is a fallacy.
Luckily, I haven't had any serious burn yet. Yeah, still. Watch out. Just very minor burns. Still, watch out. I beg your pardon? Mr. Guildmaster, I think you ought to consider that if this trial were to end now, the news will surely spread all over London. The news that one of your coachmen tried to hide the fact that he lets nefarious characters ride his omnibus. Alright then, how do I make this so this miserable trial doesn't end,
Well, according to my book here, you simply launch a ball of fire onto the innocent side of the scales. She explains to him what he already knows.
Naruhodo with his threats, he's killing it. Now hold your horses there, coachman. We were all in agreement. Why do you... Wait till I get my hands on you, Beppo. And now we can sit in this courtroom forever, because it's on neutral again. Oh, this is all very irritating.
Begging your pardon, sir, I'm going to do the same.
For the love of Mike! Not you as well.
Who's Mike? A penny can be different. A penny can be the difference A penny can be the difference between a smile and a tear, after all. I certainly can't put my trust in someone who doesn't follow my exacting standards in financial matters.
It's always Mike.
Mikey,
Oh, really?
I, for one, think it's the only proper that we hear from the witnesses again.
Wait, that means 4 jurors are now leaning to not guilty.
We've done it, Mr. Naruhodo. Mostly you, because I'm just useless as always. We've won.
You mean I won?
We've won.
I won.
You won.
What are you playing at, you dandy fool? Dandy fool. Shut your trap, sir. No one deceives me. But we had consensus. I said shut your trap. I know a liar when I see one. I always change his voice. And if the chap ever dares to cross the threshold of my shop... Why is he doing that? I'll take this razor-sharp blade and shave every last hair off his head.
Sir, that's dangerous. Please stop it.
I'm going to stab you with this blade. I shouldn't have licked my own poisoned blade.
I'm glad you think of the same shit. Please tell me he's a barber.
Well, in a quite remarkable turn of events, the defense's summation examination has flipped the balance of the scales of justice.
We think exactly of the same video.
The jurors now stand at 2 for guilty and 4 for not guilty. Accordingly, there is no longer a large enough majority among the jury for me to adjudicate. And the trial must continue.
Whoa there. Calm down.
I hereby ask the defense, prosecution, and witness to return to their places. And I call upon all of you to continue to pursue the truth. The truth! Or you get on my naughty list. So, Lord 1-6, continue to substantiate the case for the prosecution, if you please.
Whatever. He's drinking in court. That's not acceptable. That's not how physics work, by the way. Oh god, it's phase 2 with Dracula. Oh no. Having savored the rich aroma of the carmine contents of this hallowed chalice. He's drinking Kool-Aid. Isn't Kool-Aid blue? It might seem crass to crush it to dust. Pray forgiveness the discourtesy.
Lord 1-6, crush me instead.
What? It's cold in here, or is it just me? As your antiqued tome no doubt says, the prosecution may not speak during the summation examination. So I honor the deathly silence and listen to the charade. It seems I overestimated the intelligence of the jury. Well, no matter. There is nothing so hard to prove as self-evident truth, it would seem. No. And why else would we grace the courtroom with our presence after all? So, let us proceed to the next round of battle. Phase 2 begins now. Transformation! Bring forth the witnesses once more. I will properly bang them, examine them. Also kill them and drink their blood. Witnesses, I trust you heard the summation examination we have just had to endure.
Oh yes, sir. That I did, sir.
Of course, sir. I've heard it.
Oh yes, sir. I've heard it. Yours, sir, on the end, the coachman. I believe it's Beppo? Yes, sir. My lord, sir. It's so cold, sir. If it transpires that in your previous testimony, you were attempting to veil the presence of a 5th passenger on the omnibus, you will will be found guilty of perjury. You are advised to bear that in mind, sir.
He's literally telling him to lie. It's like, say the truth and you're getting fluffed in the bad way, or lie. Choose.
Oh mio Dio. Oh.
Now then, witnesses, I hereby call on you to testify before the court again. You will explain the various misgivings brought to our attention by the defense's summation examination.
I only carried 4 passengers that night, I swear. But well, I for one was told I had to pay 5 pence for the bus.
He fiddled on the fare, he did, and then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. It's all too much.
I tell you, I saw McGilded stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands.
Oh, yes, he stabbed him. Yes, he did. I think so, yes. Counsel, make sense of this for me, please.
The phantom 5th passenger conjured into existence by my learned Eastern friend never existed. What? You egg? Can I offer you a heart in those trying times? It's really good, you can nibble it. The confusion has arisen from the coachman's sly little cousinage. Beppo, explain yourself.
I'm terribly sorry, Guildmaster.
The guild's fare is 4 pence across the board, you know that. Am I to understand that you've been overcharging our passengers by a penny a fare?
It's so cold, and the last run of the day is always half empty. You have been dishonest, coachman. I'm sorry.
You're a disgrace, Beppo, a disgrace! And your selfish actions have brought dishonor to the entire guild.
If I may, sir, I had to pay 10 pence on the bus just last week.
What?
4 passengers at 5 pence each is, yes, 20 pence. I've done the arithmetic 10 times already, but I just can't make the result come out differently.
No, that figures.
Well, it would appear that one of the aforementioned misgivings has already been explained. So, counsel of the defense, your cross-examination, if you please.
We've already had the pleasure of protracted summation examination today. I see you intend to continue the parlor games.
Absolutely.
I only carried 4 passengers that night, I swear it, but
what?
Hold it!
There were only 4 passengers on your carriage, but you didn't charge them the standard 4 pence fare. Is that right?
It's impossible to make the last run of the day pay. It was so cold. It was all I could do to stop myself from passing.
Getting chilblains just listening to you.
It was terrible. So I wanted to give myself that pat on the back for keeping the bus running. The dedicated coachman deserve an extra penny passenger.
Digging a deeper hole for yourself here. If only there had been a 5th passenger on the omnibus that night. Then we could have another suspect. Well, I for one was told I had to pay 5 pence on the bus.
Hold it!
Now tell me more. Does it mean everyone on board that night had paid 5 pence instead of 4?
Well, I paid 5 pence too, sir. Excuse me.
If I may, Mr. Fairplay. What are you fossicking for now? The last statement appears to have given you pause for thought. Not really. By the way, you always seem to be looking to decide one way or another. Do you have some affliction? We had this talk before. Not really. It's not really willing to say anything, it seems. It's none of your business anyhow.
He fell us on a fair, he did, and the last I saw blood-curdling sight as well. It's not up to much.
It's place. This blood-curdling sight, you mean the murder, I presume?
Yes, sir. Loathsome night. No one should have to witness the horror in the eyes of a man the moment his life is taken. Just like I take all the children, the naughty children, and kill them in a wonderful little ceremony back at my home, where I drink the blood and bath in the blood and make myself wonderful masks out of their faces. What's wrong with this guy? Oh, well, not exactly, sir.
Why is he asleep? I mean, I didn't actually see the exact moment the gent was stabbed.
Good gracious, really? I love stabbing people.
We have another witness who did, however. The banker has already testified to it. But Mr. First didn't actually see the point at which the victim was killed. That might turn out to be very significant.
I heard the banker gent next to me take a sharp intake of breath, you see. That's when I looked through the glass.
I still, like, the game basically told me, like, if this happens, I should look at the other people if they have, like, a reaction to what he's saying. But he's asleep and he just stares.
That's when I saw the horrible blade poking out from his belly, all covered in blood.
I saw that horrible blade poking out from his belly. That makes no sense. That would, like, indicate A, that the blade was very long, and B, that the blade was stabbed into his back. Hmm.
Every time I see a knife now, I can't help screaming, even when I'm eating.
You want to see a blade? Okay, sure. I'll show you. Oh, I can't. That's dumb. Tell you, saw McGilded stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands. Yes, he stabbed him. Yes, he did. I think so. He also stated that he didn't saw it when it happened. He literally said, like, when they reacted, I stopped and went back and saw the dead victim. He didn't see it at all. I can't do anything with this, but just to press. Earlier you testified you saw the moment when the defendant allegedly stabbed the victim, didn't you?
Oh, yes, that's right.
Said that victim was on the floor and described the assailant holding the knife in an ice pick grip. Which is a lie. Which is literally a lie because this scene photograph shows that he was sitting. Why can't I present that?
I suppose I might have, yes. Put the cart before the horse, maybe.
What is he even talking about?
What is this? Well, I'm quite sure about most of it. I was driving the horses when I heard a scream from the seats on the roof deck. Oh, I expected that was me, sir.
Excuse it. Why are you looking at him now?
And when I turned around, yes, I saw it through the skylight. The gentleman was on the floor, and the knife was sticking out
up out of his midriff. That's right, yes. The fellow holding the handle was the famous man, yes.
So in short, you didn't see the moment when the victim was actually stabbed at all.
I really thought that I did, but when I go over it again in my head, no, I suppose I didn't actually see the precise moment of stabbing.
Now I have the first time an actual reaction.
Excuse me.
You have something to say about that, Mr. Fairplay? Now listen to me. I know what you're thinking. He didn't really see the exact moment the fellow was stabbed. What are the chances of that? Huh? Are you asking me or telling me? He's getting flustered. I might be able to extract some new information from him if I answer him cleverly. Could he have just happened to see the exact moment the crime was committed? In all reality, he had like no hearing of the situation. Like, yes, this is skylight, but most people have their attention not looking into a carriage. Why? Like, that's not interesting. Well, it is a little hard to believe, certainly. Unless you spend your time peeping through a skylight on top of an omnibus, that is. Peeping? I'm a respectable city banker, I'll have you know. And I know what I saw. I remember it as clear as a Ballarat day. It was a grim scene, I don't mind telling you.
Thank you, Mr. Fairplay.
Oh, excuse me if I was getting a little hot under the column there, my lord.
I would ask you to supplement your testimony with a clear statement about what exactly you saw.
Oh, I can do that, alright. I'll tell you just how grim it was. Do you think I would forget the sight of those blood-soaked hands after that butcher stabbed the man? Can I present that?
Objection.
Blood-soaked hands. Well, I admit that soaked might be laying it on a little thick, but anyway, there was definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it. Well, I'm very sorry to disagree, Mr. Fairplay, but that's more than a little peculiar. What? Here are the gloves worn by the defendant, Mr. McGilded, on the night in question. Oh, yes, right. And there certainly does appear to be a sizable dark-colored stain there. But, as I'm sure as you can clearly see, it's only on the right-hand glove. What is he doing there? In short, Mr. Fairplay, your testimony is inconsistent. Yeah! But no, that can't be right.
So you're the liar here then?
Ah! That's right. You were clear about it, and you said, yeah, it was both hands. Mr. Fairplay, if your last statement was a lie, it calls your entire testimony into question. You say you saw the moment the victim was stabbed, but is that really the truth? Oh,
Objection!
It was a simple mistake. You can't justify accusing this man of lying. Yes, it was in both hands. It was only one. But the fact remains. No, we're talking about hands, not gloves. The victim's blood was on the accused.
Objection!
No, Mr. Fairplay categorically stated that he saw blood all over both hands. Which means there's a strong possibility that this witness was deliberately trying to mislead the court. Why? I'm a city banker. For pity's sake, my word should be the gold standard. I'm a gentleman, not some gutter snipe. Upstanding members of society don't prevaricate. English words I don't understand. He's claiming to have no reason to lie. But is that really the case?
Mr. Naruhodo, if we had some evidence to explain why Mr. Fairplay might be lying, could turn the tide in this trial completely.
Something to show this man has a compelling reason to lie in his... Something to show this man has a compelling reason to lie in his testimony. Well, there must be evidence, right? My lord.
Yes, counsel.
The defense is ready to present evidence.
By Jove, are you sure?
Yes, evidence that will clearly demonstrate why Mr. Fairplay had reason to lie in his testimony. Last person who I would trust is a banker.
Very well. I hereby call the defense to present its evidence. The evidence that demonstrates a motive for the witness' alleged deception of the court.
The question. No, wait, wasn't his name in here? If I remember correctly? His name was in here, if I remember correctly. Okay, but it's gonna be this. Because nothing else can present this.
Take that!
This is a list of debtors who owe money to Mr. McGilded. Yes, a list of innocent victims crippled by the accused's extortion. But the point is, among the names of these debtors is your name, Mr. Bruce Fairplay.
What? Mr. Fairplay, are you currently indebted financially to the accused?
No. Well, it's barely worth of being called a debt. According to this ledger, you owe 20 guineas, not an inconsiderable not an inconsiderable sum of money, wouldn't you say? So 20 guineas is like 20 pounds, 20 pence, if I recall this correctly, as Asla told me. And back in the day, over 100 years ago, that was quite a large sum of money. Well, what of it? Let's suppose Mr. McGilded were to be found guilty of murder. What would become of your debt in that case?
These documents state that the loan agreement is forged between the two individual parties. Therefore, were the creditor defendant here to be sentenced to a capital punishment, all outstanding debts which were owed to him would be annulled. They would cease to exist. Cease to exist?
Mr. Fairplay, is it not the case that you claimed in your testimony to have seen something you never in fact saw? In a devious attempt to annul your debt of 20 guineas to the defendant.
Order! 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 Mr. Bruce Fairplay.
Yes, my lord.
Let me ask you again. And be aware that your answer may have most serious implications upon your future, sir. Did you or did you not see the precise moment in time at which the defendant is alleged to have thrust a knife into the victim?
Give up. Your silence speaks volumes. You did not tell the truth in your testimony. Alright. Now let's not make a melodrama out of this. Perhaps I did overstate the truth a pinch. A pinch? But it makes no difference. I definitely remember seeing blood on Mr. McGilded's hands, both of them.
Objection!
And yet only one of the defendant's gloves, which we have here as evidence, is stained. So, you keep saying...
I wonder if I might be allowed to speak, sir. Go ahead, Mr. First. Well, the thing is, I think I remember seeing it myself as it happens.
Seeing what?
The blood, sir, on the assailant's hands. I think, yes. I'm almost sure it was both of his hands, not just one.
What? What?
I just changed my testimony out of the blue. It's not like I have debts. It would appear that we are going to need further testimony from all your witnesses. This time I would like to know precisely what you did and what you did not see. Do I make myself perfectly clear?
Yes.
Mr. Naruhodo, this is good news. The course of the trial seems to have shifted slightly at last.
Yes. I might finally have a chance to turn things around here. There was blood on both hands of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment of the stabbing transpired, if that matters.
I remember I remember seeing the knife and
I remember seeing both of the attackers' hands with blood on them. I didn't really see anything myself, no. Not until I heard the scream.
Anyway, the fact remains there can't have been anyone else inside the carriage, or we all would have seen.
Well, lo and behold,
Low or yo low?
in truth or fact, no one of you was witness to the crucial moment of the crime was perpetrated.
I apologize, my lord, but honestly, there was no one else inside the carriage, and the man's hands were covered in blood. That much incrimination evidence is a tantamount to say we saw the man do it. That's really not what the testimony is about. Let's examine the interior of the omnibus once more. The victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat, corroborating the witness's accounts. In other words, there is no substantial nor significant change in the fact of the case.
Very well. Your cross-examination, please, counsel.
Yes, my lord.
Oh.
There was blood on both ends of the assailant. I sincerely distinctly remember that.
But that makes no sense.
However, I suppose I might have seen I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attackers' hands with blood on them. We can actually press this. Yeah. Thank you, Bob. There we go. I shouldn't click directly into the window when I do this.
Yes, sir. I mean, I know what you're going to say.
Do you?
Only one of Mr. McGilder's gloves has signs of blood on it. That's right. The thing is, as far as I remember, sir, when I looked down and saw Mr. McGilder sitting beside the other fellow, I don't believe he was wearing any gloves, sir.
He wasn't wearing these gloves?
That's correct, sir. I saw the blood on both his bare hands quite clearly.
It's true that the dark colored stain on the dark leather glove wouldn't have been easy to see. What if it is the gloves of the actual victim? I mean, it would make sense. He would like grab the knife with one hand, going like, ugh. I should point out that the police officer who apprehended the accused on the night in question reported there was no trace of blood on Mr. McGilder's gloved hands. There wasn't blood on his hands.
This is puzzling indeed.
It must be significant somehow, I'm sure of it.
I didn't actually see anything myself. No, not until I heard that scream.
Anyway, the fact remains there couldn't have been anyone else inside the carriage, or we all would have seen. What if... Can you actually do this? Like, can you actually go here and specifically point out a specific point in the carriage? not what I wanted. I forgot how the controls work. Yep, shut up. Nobody needs this text to open the door. Programming, please.